In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple title block, an A size one, which is going to be your standard 8.5 by 11. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a rectangle. And I'm going to put the lower left corner at 0, 0, enter. And now I want to go ahead and locate my upper right corner, which is going to be 11, 8.5. Now this is going to be a landscaped title block. So the next thing I want to go ahead and do is I'm just going to offset this rectangle to the inside a distance of 0.5. So offset 0.5, enter. Select your rectangle and make sure that you click on the inside. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take a look and I want to determine which way do I want my title block words to come in. So if I want them along here on the bottom, I can do it that way, or I can put them along this edge. For this example, I'm just going to put one going right across the bottom here. Next thing I want to do is I want to offset a line up off of this bottom line. But you notice if I try to use the offset command, that's going to select this whole rectangle. So what I'm going to use is going to be a construction line. Then I'll use the offset command inside of that. And now I can put in a number of, let's say 1, enter. Once I select this line and click anywhere above it, now I can offset that line off of 1. Escape. I'll go ahead and use my EX trim, or you can use the regular trim, but in this case EX trim will get it done a lot faster. So EXTRIM, enter. Go ahead and select your inside rectangle and now click anywhere on the outside. Escape. Now I want to go ahead and divide this up into 3 segments. So I'm going to use the divide command. So it's going to be underneath the draw, and the one that has the end underneath it is going to be our divide. Next it asks me to select the object that I want to divide. So select the line that you just created. And now tell it how many segments you want this divided into. 3, enter. Once again, if you remember back, the reason why these are not kind of showing up is because we got to go and change our point ID back on. So underneath the utilities, the point style, and it should open up another dialog box. And in that dialog box, I usually like to select this one. Kind of gives me the most detailed features that I can see. Once you select that one, go ahead and select OK. Now you can see those nodes will appear. Go ahead and draw a line from that node. So I'm just going to shift and right click, node, select my node, and I'll go down to the perpendicular, escape. I'll do the exact same thing on the other side, or I can mirror it, or I can copy this line. So any other method that you want to use, I'm just going to do it again just to give me some practice using my shift and right click. So line, shift right click, node, from that node down to that perpendicular, escape. And now I'm just going to erase those 2 nodes. So you can select them both. I just use a nice blue window to go around both of them and close them. And you can either hit the delete button on your keyboard or select the erase button at the top. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and create some text in this box. So I'm just going to use a regular single line text. And now it's asking me, hey, what is your start point, justification, or style? I'm going to go ahead and choose my justification. And now I have all these different abbreviations. And remember that if you go through the text styles, you'll understand that this is the one that I want to choose. In this case, is going to be my top left node. So I want it at the top left. And now it's asking me to specify a point. So I can do this in one step, but I think I'm going to put it in this place and then I'll show you I'll move it later. So I'll just go ahead and select this endpoint. And now it's asking me what's the height of the text that I want. I'm going to type in 0.125, enter. Rotation is going to be 0, so I'm just going to select enter. And now it's asking me to go ahead and type the text that I want. So I'm going to have my cap locks turned on, and I'm just going to type in name with a colon behind it. Hit the enter button one time and then hit the escape button. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I'm just going to zoom into this name, and I need to move that down and to the right. So I'm going to use the move command. Select name, enter. My base point in this case, it doesn't matter since I'm selecting a distance. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to type in at. Once again, I'm moving a positive direction. So I'm going to put in 0.0625, comma, and now I want to go down. That's a negative 0.0625, enter. And now you'll see that that name will be located in the correct place. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and copy this to here and to this location. So I'm going to use the copy, select name, enter. And once again, now these are going to be at specific places, so the base point does matter. So I'm going to pick this endpoint as my base point, and that will allow me to pick at this endpoint and now at this endpoint. Escape. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and change where it says name. I just want to change that text. If you're not in any command, usually you can double click on it and it should bring up the text editor. And so from here, I'm going to type in scale. Okay, once you're done, just go ahead and click somewhere else and now hit the escape button. So now that's changed the scale. I'll do the same on this one. Double click. This one will be named date. So D-A-T-E. Click somewhere else, escape. Alright, so now I have all three of my labels ready to make. I'll go ahead and define me an attribute now. So underneath the insert, you'll have a define attribute. Okay, go ahead and select that, and now you're going to get the dialog box. Now you can choose how you want this to come in. And in our case, I'm just going to leave it at a lock position. I don't think my name is going to be big enough to where I'm going to need multi-lines. And once again, I do want it showed. In this case, if it's your personal title block, use it as constant. But if you want other people to use it, most likely you're going to leave that empty. If you want to verify it, basically it's going to ask you again just to make sure that you got the correct input value in there. You can have that checked, or you can have a preset value, for example, like you want your name, but it will still be able to be changed later. Okay, so the difference between these two is constant means it won't be changed, preset means that it's in the value, but you can come back and change it. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to go ahead and change my tag, and in this case it's just going to be name. Underneath my prompt, I'm going to enter name with a colon behind it. Yep. Okay. Now once again, you can put in your name here as a default value, but like I said, if you want to leave it blank, you can. You also have in this little field column, you can go and select some of the properties that the drawing is doing, and it will also pull in whoever created this as their default name. But I'm going to leave it blank. Okay, so underneath my text options here, I'm going to choose how I want my text to come in. And underneath my justification, I'm going to choose middle center. The text style I'm going to use is standard. And in my text height, I'm going to change that height to 0.1875 because I want this to be a little bit bigger than my normal text. And now I got my insertion point is I will justify where I want that insertion point on my screen. So go ahead and select OK. And now it's asking me to go ahead and place where I want my name at. I'm going to hold down the shift button and do a right click. And I'm going to select the mid between 2 points option. Okay, once you select that option, go ahead and select this endpoint and select that endpoint. Okay, escape. Now I'm just going to copy this attribute to this box and also to this box. So like we did before, underneath the Home tab, I want to copy, name, enter. So once I select that name, I'll select this as my base point. And now I can click this endpoint and that endpoint. Escape. So what I want to do next is I want to double click on this name one just to change the attributes on it. And it's going to have all the modes and everything else is going to be the same. I'm just going to change this prompt and the tag. So in this case, I want my tag to say scale. And underneath here, I'm just going to change where it says name to scale. Enter. So now I have my name one, I have scale, and I'm just going to click on this last one. And I'm going to change the top value to date. And under the prompt, I want it to say enter date. So I just want it to say date. Okay. So now I have my escape. Now I have all my attributes set up the way that I want it to come in. Another good thing to do when you're creating a title block is to go ahead and create the layers that you know you're going to need. So I'm going to click the layer properties. It should bring open your dialog box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. And this layer is just going to be called DIM, short for dimension. Okay, I'll go ahead and create another one. One that's called title block. Okay, I'll go ahead and create a new one after my title block one. And this layer is going to be called VPORT, viewport. Okay, so after my viewport layer is created, let's go ahead and create one that's called border. Create another new one. And this one should be named text. Okay, after the text one, hatch. So HATCH. I'll go ahead and create another one after I create hatch. This one is going to be named Phantom, PHANTOM. Let's go ahead and create another one. And this layer is going to be called hidden. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and create one last layer, and it's going to be my center line layer, so just center. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change these colors so they make a little bit more sense. So the border layer, let's go ahead and make that color on that one magenta or color number 6. So you can either choose the color number 6 here, or you can type in this bottom box 6, enter, and it still will change it to magenta. Let's make our dimension layer, so our dim layer. Let's go ahead and change that color to red. I'm just going to type in 1, enter. My hatch, I'm also going to make that one red, so 1, enter. Let's go ahead and make our hidden lines. Let's make it green, so 3, enter. My center line layer is going to be cyan, so that's going to be 4, enter. My phantom line, I'm going to make it blue, so that's going to be 5, enter. My text, so anytime I see text on the screen, we can go ahead and make that as well. Let's make it 1, enter. Better yet, let's leave it the way it is. So I'm going to leave it at color 7. Let's go to our title block. And let's make that blue, so 5, enter. And lastly, my viewport layer. Let's make it something, I want to give you a color that will show up. So let's make it, I think magenta will work. So once again, that's color number 6. Okay. So now that I have all these colors created, next thing I want to do is I want to change my line types of the correct ones. So underneath my border one, I want you to go ahead and change that line type. So remember, when you first bring it in, I have to go and load. And I'm going to find the hidden. Okay. And now I want you to select hidden and select OK. So that changed my border layer to hidden. The dimension layer is fine. The hatch layer is fine. Now I'm going to take a look at my hidden layer. Select on the line type. I'm going to go to load. I'm going to go to hidden. And this time I'm going to choose the one that says hidden 2. Not the 2x, but just the regular 2. Okay. Select hidden, the 2 one. Okay. So now my hidden layer is changed to that. Let's change our center layer. So I'm going to change that line type to center 2. Make sure you go and select it here in this dialog box. Okay. My phantom. Load. I want you to scroll down to where you can find phantom. And I'm just going to use the regular phantom one. The text layers should be okay. The blocks and everything else is okay. Okay, some other things I want to go ahead and change is I'm going to change the thickness of how I want my certain layers to come in. So my 0 layer, the line weight that I want to be changed on that one, is I'm going to make it come in at 0.35. Okay, my title block is the other one that I'm going to change. So the line weight of my title block should come in at 0.5. And my phantom line type, sorry, I need to change the line weight. Let's make it 0.4. Okay, so I really won't see too much difference between them. Let me go back to my 0 layer and I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. I'll make it 0.3. Because if you remember, the phantom layer line type should be the thickest one that you see. Alright, one last thing that I want to do is I want to make a couple of these not show up when I print. So underneath my viewport one, I want to just change that one to no print. And also underneath my border one, I'm going to make that one not printable. Okay? So once you have all this stuff selected and done correctly, go ahead and close this box. I'm going to highlight the inner contents. And I'm just going to change that to the title block. Escape. And now select the outer rectangle. Go ahead and put that on the border. I'm going to zoom the extents. Z enter, E enter. Or you can select the little option over here. And now I want you to make sure that you save this in a place because we're going to be using this title block a lot. So make sure you save it in a place that you know where it's at so we can call it up. So I think I'll just go ahead and save this on my desktop. And I'm just going to name it as my A size title block. So it's just A size. Okay. And I just want to show you one option of what it's going to look like when it comes in. So I'm just going to create a new drawing by selecting this plus. I'm going to turn this grid off, and remember that's going to be our function key 7. And underneath the insert, choose the first one, which is the insert block. Browse. I'm going to go to my desktop. Select the one that I just created. Okay. And I want this to come in at 0, 0, 0, so I'm not going to check this box. I don't want to specify the scale yet. And I'm just going to bring it in, and it's going to already be coming in the way I want it. make sure that you do not have the explode box checked. So go ahead and select OK. And now you can see it is coming in and asking me those values. So I can go in and type in whatever I want for as my name. My scale could be, let's make it 1 = 1. And the date, let's make it any date that you want. So I'll go 5/12/2000. Go ahead and hit open. Okay. And now if I zoom the extent, you can see that my title block did come in. The lower left corner is at 000 and my attributes are filled in. So this is working correctly.